Okay, it's another TribFish update. Trib update. And I don't like being the bearer of bad news at all, but I was just reading, I'd heard this from a guy I watch online last night, and he was talking about the run on some banks, especially these banks that are funding venture capitalists. And there was one today that I heard on the news earlier that made me start looking at it closer. I don't think it was one he was talking about, but he was talking about some banks out in California, especially in the development area for tech and some other places, venture capitalists, and they fund venture capital. I think Silicon Valley Bank is one of them. And there's been a run on it. It says this is from Axios. Silicon Valley Bank appears to have imploded within 24 hours, leaving Silicon Valley in a state of shock. And that's a run on the banks, and that's being caused, I think, a lot by they know what's coming as far as a lot of investors know what's coming as far as the central bank digital currency and how that will pretty much give us another monopoly. We went for years breaking up monopolies in this country. We broke up AT&T. We broke up just all kinds of companies that were too big. And now what do we have? We have a few delivery companies that are big, that are separate as far as UPS and FedEx. But those are the big guys. And the same way it is, think about it, that's the way Amazon. Is there another company that's as big as Amazon? Really? Now, AT&T, they broke them up when they got probably as big as Amazon. And then you have just a couple of telephone companies, really. I mean, you have the Androids, but they're mainly made up of Samsung and I guess Sony, maybe. I don't even know of any other ones. And then there's Apple. And Apple has their own platform and everything. I don't even know if you can get another phone that'll run on the Apple software. So you have all these monopolies. You have like six big media companies in this country. And they own a lot of the other stuff. Disney owns a lot of this stuff. Warner Brothers is owned by, I think, like the big five record companies, what we call record companies, music companies. And all their distribution and everything is run by like 5 or 6 companies. And I believe that's in the world practically. I mean, it's pretty much worldwide. We're getting down to less than probably a dozen companies in this world own 90% of everything. So think about it. And then you got these banks, and they're all trying to fit in together, and they push out people like Russia and China and different people. Okay, they just quit dealing with the dollar, right? So I'm not sure how this is going to play out, but that's a big deal.
And I go pick up a pallet. Just kidding, sort of. Yesterday, some of the biggest banks in this country, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, collectively lost more than $50 billion in market value in one day. That's quite a hit. On the other hand, those banks still exist, and you can't say that for Silicon Valley Bank. As of this morning, Silicon Valley Bank, or SVB, has gone under completely. That makes the second biggest bank failure in the history of this country. And the significant, SVB financed nearly half of all venture-backed healthcare and technology companies in the United States.
Let's see what it says about Silicon Valley crisis unsettles bank investors. That's from the Wall Street Journal. It talks about the trouble at their bank, and Forbes had something on their website if I can find it. But basically, it says the same thing. Look at bank troubles. Cratering Silicon Valley's bank troubles. And that's one. Crypto bank signature slides on Friday amid troubles at Silicon Valley. 10 banks that may face trouble in the wake of the SVB. That's the Silicon Valley Bank financial crisis. How to tell if your bank is safe. It just headline after headline. VCs, that's venture capitalists, describe a big mess as Silicon Valley Bank's troubles spark industry-wide panic. Now, VCs, that's venture capitalists, they know how to make money. They don't mind taking risk. And if they get to a point where they're scared to take risk, you know there's some risk. Because venture capitalists, the way they, in case you're not familiar with how venture capitalists work, they'll come in and put money up for something that they think that if they put enough money behind it, that it will work. Now, somebody struggling, someone small like me trying to get in, break into it, just like I'm trying to break in, and expand my footprint in here in YouTube or a Rumble. If I had a bunch of money behind me, like some of these, you see people online that have explode, Tucker Carlson, different people, they have a lot of money behind them. They're in every nook and cranny of the market and on every station and talked about by every media company and even senators and everybody else. And then you have some YouTubers and people that have been on here for 10, 15 years, and they look like they're overnight successes, but they're not. There's Doug and Stacy and some other ones that I've watched that have been on here. When you go back and look how long they have been blogging and on here, they've been on here a long time. Now, I started mine a long time ago as, on my station that I do music and stuff on, but I didn't pursue it. I wasn't trying to be somebody that was making videos and everything. I just used it for fun. And I'm still really I'm not trying to be worldly and get out here and push everything that I can, but I'm trying to give you some information. I'm trying to keep it to a point where I give you information that is helpful in this tribulation period, but still give you scripture and different things that cements it to people that are believers like us, that we can get some foundational, maybe some mapping or blueprint from it and see how that shapes up with what it says in the Bible and how that will maybe give us some I guess pretty much some material to be able to talk to others that are out there that are scared or they're afraid, and we're trying to reach them in this tribulation, this TribFish. We're trying to reach people to give them the gospel message and save them from what's coming. Because if you're like me, you believe that we'll get out. Right now we're still in the times of Noah. Like I talked about on the last video, where people are marrying, giving in marriage, and eating and drinking, all this stuff. Well, you got to think about when the tribulation hits, when the big tribulation, the great tribulation hits, people aren't going to be worried about that. We're talking about tribulation where you don't know where you're going to eat next. You don't know if there's any food around, and you don't know if you're going to have a home or what, or if there's wars going on or someone's attacking our country. And that's a tribulation. That is a tribulation. And right now we're already seeing shortages of food. We're seeing egg shortages, and they're talking about shooting our animals with the vaccine, some of those, and putting drugs into them and ruining all that. And people are buying up our land, and we're seeing people that are handling catastrophes real badly as far as the chemical spill, and that's getting into our water. We're talking about banks not being here even to operate, and having one central bank, who then can tell you, well, if you don't do this, we're not going to give you any money, and you can't use us unless you do this, and if you say this, then we're not going to do business with you, and they can control you that way. Why not? Oh yeah, we got a First Amendment, we have all this stuff, but we don't have anybody standing up for it. We've seen that. We've seen the depth that the communists and people that have infiltrated our government and everything else to take this over and take away all of our rights. They're coming. They're creeping slowly, and as long as we don't pay attention, they're going to creep into the next thing you know, there's going to be some people in that selected or whatever, however they get into office, that will go against what you put them in there, supposedly you and I put them in there to do. So this is part of that tribulation area, and it's not going to get, I don't think it's going to get any better. I'd like to say it will. I'm getting way into the weeds, but this is some of the tribulation we're seeing with the bank troubles. And let's see if there's any more headlines. The Silicon Valley bank trouble rattles markets. That's from Oregon Live. Talks about bank stocks were pummeled Friday as investors grew increasingly fearful that the assets of a bank heavily exposed to the technology sector might need find emergency capital or be sold in the coming days. So they're going to have to find some emergency capital. Shares of SVB Financial Group, the parent company of Silicon Valley Bank, plummeted nearly 70% before trading was halted before the opening bell on the NASDAQ. Now, the Bible tells us not to live in fear. I'm not trying to get anybody to live in fear. I'm just trying to get you to pay attention. Don't be all involved in the world right now. I mean, yes, your kids are going to have ball games and stuff. I get that. But don't be all engrossed in March Madness and everything and not be paying attention. I'm not saying you can't, you shouldn't do those things or can't do those things or it's sinful to do those things at all. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying be aware. It's kind of like walking into a dark alley. You have to be aware around you or somebody liable to hit you in the head and take your wallet. So right now we're walking through a dark alley, a lot of us. A lot of people in this cloud setup are walking around in a dark alley without a flashlight. They're just going along, and all of a sudden they get hit, and they're like, "Oh, where did that come from?" I'm telling you, be prepared. Don't waste your money. Try to get out of debt. Start trying to focus on getting out of debt. Don't go into any more debt if you can absolutely help it. Take care of your health. Eat better. Eat wiser. Quit eating all the junk food and different things. And, don't live in fear. The Bible tells us not to live in fear. I understand that. So live in prayer and try to talk to your friends about it and show them this video if you need to. Tell them, we have bank issues. I talked about the SNAP, the benefits being cut. I talked about them trying to shut down your speech and everything yesterday because people are trying to shut down our speech. That's going to be happening more and more in the future where people are going to try to shut down our speech and shut down everything that we believe in and stop us from talking about the Bible. They're going to try to keep us from talking about relevant issues that we have concerns about. Everything, they're going to try to smooth talk it. They shut down people already before on the talk of the vaccine now that's coming out, all the things that people were trying to talk about. Now they can talk about them. Isn't that crazy? Oh, it's okay now. Now ivermectin, that did work. Well, people were trying to tell people that before, but they were saying, oh, that's horse medicine. They knew better. They wanted, there was a money element in that, in case you didn't know. There was a money element in the fact that they didn't want you using ivermectin. They didn't want you to use hydroxychloroquine because those are cheap drugs on the market that can help. Yeah, they'd rather for you to do this other solution because they've got stock options and everything. All these politicians and people in the media, they knew what was coming. They had stock options already, and all these pharmaceutical companies had already got the heads up. They had been listening. I've heard it talked about too. I didn't think to go out and try to capitalize. I didn't think anybody would be that evil that would actually not give people help so they can make money. To me, that's absolute evil. So I need to wake up in that regard too. There are a lot more evil people on this earth than I ever remembered, okay? So, like I said, pray for your neighbors. Please share the video, like and subscribe and all that good stuff because this needs to get out. And I'm going to have some more coming. As it comes out, as I see the writing on the wall and see how we're being suppressed more and more with our speech and with our money. And like I said, this central bank digital currency is coming.
This is not a commercial, but hedge your portfolio. Make sure you've got 5 or 10% of your portfolio in alternative hard assets like gold, like precious precious metals, things that you can control, because what the Fed has done with policy, and we've been talking about this for a while, is creating a serious issue. And the thing that I'm most concerned about long term is that they're going to use this as a cover story for a central bank digital currency. You know exactly where I was going with this, because they're saying, well, there are runs on the bank. We can't protect that, but if we have the currency, there will be no banks, there will be no runs on them. That's a really good reason we should get that passed through Congress. This is a very scary situation that can threaten our freedom. It threatens your wealth. So make sure that you do have a portion of your portfolio in a form factor that you can control. And ask questions, check out your financial institutions, and make sure that you have done the homework, because
my understanding, it's going to be here by July. So we're springing ahead this Sunday for the, what is that, daylight savings time. So don't forget to do that. But this is, keep me in your prayers too. But like I say, please subscribe and like and hit the bell. And we need to get this message out. And I'm trying. And if you can help me, send me your suggestions. That's good if you see something. But we have a lot of things they're ratcheting down. They're even trying to change the narrative now. They're saying how much better the job market is and all that stuff. I saw that today too. I heard that today, that they were putting out numbers saying, oh, everything's going great. I know that a few areas that I'm involved in, especially in the dental area of my wife, it's hard to find people, especially in the clinical side of dentistry and the front desk side. So if you're one that's looking at this and you need a job and you live around in Tennessee, especially around the Nashville area, if you need a job and you have experience in clinical or the front desk of that type of area for dentistry, please contact me through either the website or here at wherever you're watching this, YouTube, Rumble, or whatever, and I'll get back to you. So have a blessed day, and we're going to keep you updated here on TribFish. Until the next time, stay strong, stay in prayer, and just keep the faith. Have a good one. Are you really ready for the day? For the day?